Dakota Bush. How you doing, my brother?
Pretty good yourself.
I'm pretty good, thanks. Looks like you're probably doing better than I am, though. I
Yeah, I can't complain. That's for sure.
mean, haters will say that background's fake, but how's vacation going at the moment?
So far, so good. Can't complain at all. I mean, every day been spear fishing mostly, diving. This water is crystal clear down here in the Keys, so it's just beautiful. And the food's great, beer's good. Spending family time, just everything I need after a long year. Bunch of fights rattled off, and about to do the same afterwards. So can't wait to get the ball rolling after this is over.
That's great to hear. Whereabouts in Florida are you?
We're in the Florida Keys,
Okay.
specifically at Marathon.
Oh, nice, nice. That must be kind of nice. It kind of gets obviously I know fighting, you like to fight, it's your career, but it would appear that it kind of takes your mind off training. It kind of gives you that mental break, I would assume.
Yeah, I haven't really thought much about fighting since I've been here, and that's usually it consumes me. I eat, sleep, and drink fighting. It's just in my DNA. But when I'm down here, I kind of get to get away from that, and it's really nice. Not having to stress about stuff and be thinking, is my opponent working right now? And shit, he's probably working, but it's only a week. It's a week that I need off, and a week that it's gonna help me recharge so I can get better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, what was your feeling when when the states were kind of easing up on restrictions? I mean, you were freely able to travel.
Really, for me, as Missouri was, we really didn't change too much. I didn't miss any
Okay.
work or training wise. Um, it was pretty lenient in my area, but like up in the city, like in St. Louis, it was pretty strict. I got to see, both worlds of COVID. So um, I didn't really miss any of that. Last year I went on vacation, and then this year, so you know, fighting, everything's been good for me except for a couple of LFA bouts I had got canceled due to COVID.
Mhm.
But other than that, I've been very fortunate and been able to reap the benefits of it. So
I don't know. I think you're talking to a guy here that's been living in Canada his whole life, and
yeah,
we've been just lockdown the entire time. So it's been, I mean, two different perspectives here. But that being said, so like, besides COVID, as being a fighter in that kind of career, is it kind of taken? Do you ever take a risk that you're taking vacation? I mean, obviously, I know you have a fight booked, but if you didn't, is it a bit of a risk to take vacation due to like last minute fight opportunities?
yeah, definitely. If I wouldn't have got the call up for my last fight in the UFC, I'd probably be walking on eggshells this whole trip, and it wouldn't be as fun. I'd be watching what I'm eating, probably running every day, and then trying to get some kind of training in while I can down here. And I wouldn't be able to, really relax and enjoy vacation because I could get the call saying, "Hey, this Saturday you got to fight," and like, "Fuck, I got to leave vacation," and everything would be a mess. So I'm so fortunate that I got the call when I did.
Absolutely. Now, before I more into your career here, have you had a chance to check out the new Prism cards yet?
I have not. I haven't seen any of them lately since COVID, kind of hit and did its thing. But before that, I knew people fighting on them. Every now and then I know a couple people on the cards that maybe I shared a card with or trained with.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like they're becoming quite popular. I know, I don't know the Instagram account. I think it's the Pull Kings. I think they're called. They have Colby on there all the time, and
Yeah.
it's pretty neat. I mean, like, do you know if they've added you in there at all? Has anybody told you or
Nah, I haven't heard anything, regarding any of that. So
like?
I wouldn't mind though, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like every like kid's dream to like be an athlete one day and be able to have their own like sports card, I guess.
I know uh the tops cards, when they were doing that, two guys like Sanchez I was telling you about and my training partner Jake Collier, they're both on tops cards. And I was praying to be able to get on one of those, but I maybe, something could come down the line, just get a couple more fights in, get a good win, couple wins, rack them up. Maybe I'll get one of them cards. But yeah, that's definitely, like a childhood dream.
100%. Was that ever something that you did as a kid? Did you ever collect sports cards?
Yeah. I had baseball cards. I had football cards. I didn't really have basketball, none of that, but baseball and football definitely. And I loved sports growing up. Growing up, I was in a small town, and I knew like 100% that you could probably ask every teacher I ever had growing up that I'd always put down, I'm going to be a professional athlete, a football player, the baseball player or something. I just always knew that I would be. And I put my eggs all into one basket, never really had a fallback, outside of doing something athletic wise. And, I think that's why I made it to where I'm at, because I just had that one track mind and, the will to just, prove everyone wrong and get on that big stage finally in the UFC. Just it solidified, everything that I've been working for, and it just amazing, man. I can't express it enough. It's just the childhood dream and helping my family, get where we want to be now in life, and making others proud. I'm just blessed.
It does sound a bit of like a cliche, but it is true. Like, it's such a dream come true.
Yeah. You can't really express it, like people on the outside looking in that don't really know MMA, because, MMA is still in its infancy. It's not really that big. I know people that don't even, I'll go up to people and say, hey, did you watch the card this weekend? And their wife will be sitting by them or something. They'll be, what's that? And I'm like, are you kidding me? You guys don't know what that is? And it's still young, so to try to explain to other people how it is, and grinding for so long to finally get to the apex of the sport, and people are still like, oh, what do you do? So it's just it's kind of frustrating, but it's also kind of nice too.
Yeah, and I know there's some people that I'm like, oh, it's like, oh, did you watch that? Did you see that knockout on the weekend? Like, I can't remember which card it was, and they're like, yeah, I don't watch MMA. I'm like, how the hell you not want to watch people knock each other out? Come on. And they're like, yeah, I like watching soccer. And it's like, are you shitting me? Come on.
And no matter what anyone says, everyone loves fighting. It's like, I always think back
absolutely.
to that. People could say what they want, but when a fight broke out in school, everyone circled up and gathered around. No one would walk by and like, oh, there's a fight, I'm gonna keep walking. Everyone loves violence.
Absolutely. And just before I go any further, talking about sports, I mean, I know that most fighters watch the fights on the weekends, and most I've talked to watch the fights. But is there anything else that you enjoy watching? Any other sports?
I enjoy watching football a lot. Football, maybe baseball every now and then. I used to love baseball, but I kind of got out of it, But if I watch anything, it's mostly football and fighting. That's about it.
Fair enough. Who's your team?
The Packers. That's my squad. Yep.
I think you get along with my coworker. I tease him all the time. But yeah, anyway, so I'll just move on here. So talking about LFA, I mean, they've always been known to have fighters having an easy transition from LFA to UFC. So you having kind of an impressive record in the LFA organization, you had a lot of impressive first round finishes. So at that point, did you know that was your ticket into the UFC? Did you know it was only a matter of time?
Yeah, definitely. I knew 100% that it wasn't if, it was when. The LFA is just such a great platform for guys like me, and however many guys they've signed to the UFC. It's just ridiculous how many guys get signed out of there. But the proof's in the pudding. Look how many of us will go in and on a debut fight, and how many people win them, and how many people have great showings. And LFA gets you so prepared. They're not giving you cans. You're fighting top notch, competition right under the UFC level, and there's nothing out there like it. I don't know any other organization that's pumping out fighters to the next level as Bellator and UFC. Like like they are, and their shows are amazing. All the guys like Ed, Sven, and Mark, they're just great people to be around, and they take care of you. And um, like I said, I wouldn't be in the UFC without them. That's for dang sure.
Well, and it kind of seems like they're a bit of like the sister organization in a way. Like they're very much. I mean, they use the same, pretty much the same logo. Like that, they're stealing kind of like the same font of the logo for LFA, UFC kind of thing. So it seems like a bit like they're a bit of like the sister organization.
Yeah, I think they have a great relationship with each other. Like Ed bought like the RFA bought Legacy and merged them to make LFA, and I believe Mick Maynard was the owner of Legacy,
I
and
believe
then
so.
Mick Maynard then moved on to matchmaking in the UFC. So there's going to be that tight relationship between all them guys. So, um, and I would be foolish to say that they didn't have any part of my calling up to the UFC as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of like cross pollination going on there, and it's and I like the way, and I think too because they're underneath the UFC Fight Pass, it's great because a lot of people that watch a lot of UFC that may not watch so much LFA, but if you buy the UFC Fight Pass, you're able to watch a lot of the LFA, and it does help a lot of the guys trying to get to the UFC, get the recognition, and get the fan base growing before they get into the UFC, and that really I think helps with their debuts, et cetera, et cetera. Someone like yourself for sure.
Yeah, they're just like they're promotional wise, like as far as the TV version of the LFA as well. Their media. You know what I'm saying? Like when they're on TV, it looks like UFC. It's top notch. The cameraman, everything just ran like the UFC. They bring you up through like the weigh-ins, the ceremonial weigh-ins, the fight show, everything with the LFA is it's just mirrored off the UFC, and it gets you so prepared. Like I when I walked out for my fight in the UFC, it was no big deal to me, and I can honestly and humbly say that like it was just another fight. I felt like I belonged and was ready, no nerves at all. The LFA had a big part in me, being able to have that confidence and skill and to know that I'm ready to be there.
Well, and talking about your fight with Austin Hubbard, I mean, you say there wasn't really much nervousness, like it was just another fight to you. But the commentary was just so like they kept talking about like, oh, well, sometimes you got to get your nerves out, and they're talking a lot about Austin being the veteran. And they're like, oh, well, like Dakota's got to get all those nerves out. Sometimes you get a new promotion. I don't know, like I felt very. I don't know about you, but I seem like the commentary has gotten really biased lately. I don't know how you feel about that, but it seems like a lot of their fights lately, it's so one-sided. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I could see that in some fights, and it's people, that's just human instinct. You're gonna
Yeah.
like a guy, or you're not gonna like a guy. You're gonna be drawn to someone's style more than another. So, I don't think they do it intentionally. If they do, but I've seen it, and I don't care. They don't really know me. Austin's been there for 6 fights, so
Yeah.
uh, uh, I just had to get my foot in the door. But yeah, as far as them thinking I had nerves, I definitely did. And like I said, the game plan was, I took the fight on such short notice to get the finish that I knew I wasn't going to have, I was in shape, but not 8-week fight camp in shape. So
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had to get him out of there early. So I was trying to push the pace early and get in his face and try to get that, big finish early in the fight. So um, maybe they thought it was a little nerves because I started tanking, but I was just giving everything I had trying to get him out of there. So I was pleased with my performance, and I'm not upset one bit, and just going up from here.
Well, and like it was quite impressive. I mean, you really showed your athleticism and I mean, like just on 2 weeks' notice, just to showing what you just had on 2 weeks. I mean, that's pretty impressive coming in. You're making your debut against a guy like Austin Hubbard. I mean, tough guy. But that being said, before I talk about your next upcoming opponent, like, are you ready to kind of show what you can do with a full camp?
100%. Yeah, I'm excited for this next fight. He's a young dude, he's only 20, 21, I believe. I think he's the youngest guy in the UFC roster. Um, I just don't think he's got more fights than I do. He's 17-4. Um, I just don't see him being better than me anywhere. I'm older. I'm going to be stronger than him. I know that. But with the full camp, yeah, I got so much stuff left in the toolbox that I didn't even get to, throw out there, and that I'm going to be so excited to show everyone that how versatile I am. And then on top of that, I'm going to be going up to Glory up at James Krause's gym for a month and putting in a camp up there. So
Wow.
I'm going to be deadly, and I just don't see this guy beat me anywhere, and I'm going to go in there confident and respectful with him. He's dangerous still, but um, I just don't see him beating me anywhere. I got 20 weeks, from when I got the fight, and we got 20 weeks to see who's going to outwork each other, and I guarantee you he's not going to outwork me. So I'll be in there confident and ready to go, and just let everything I know how to fly, and it's going to be fun for sure.
Awesome. Now, again, so you're fighting Zhu Rong on September 18th. You just mentioned that you're going to be training at Glory for a month, you said?
Yeah. Yep.
So, what prompted that decision to want to train over there in Missouri?
Well, I've always went up there. I've been up there 3 or 4 times and just trained like on 2 or 3 day stints with them. And there's so many guys up there in the UFC. There's probably anywhere from 15 to 20 people, that are in the UFC that are coming through, stopping by. But on regular basis, there's 10 to 15 guys in the UFC. And James is just for one, he's a great dude, and he's there to help, and his resume speaks for itself, and then look at all the guys he brought up, not people coming into the gym, but how many people he brought up from the ground and put in the UFC. Um, he just knows what he's doing. He's been around the block, and he's got a different style than a lot of gyms. So, and it's nothing like my gyms have done wrong, where I train at St. Charles MMA in the pit and stuff. It's just there's not that many quality guys on that level, and I got amazing training partners that push me and make me better still. But I just want to, grow exponentially, and being in the UFC, I'm not going to forget my roots, and I'm still going to train at my gyms, but I'm going to start doing camps there just so I can stay in the UFC. I don't just want to be there and two and out and done and say, yeah, I fought in the UFC. I want to get in there and make, a good stack of money and fight 20 to 30 times in my career there.
So, like, you're not thinking about ever possibly in the future, like, transitioning over to Glory?
I mean, not right now. I don't see it happening. But I wouldn't see it completely out of the picture. But the way my gym, I got my father-in-law as my coach, so we're pretty tight knit, and I just, if he gets out of it completely, maybe I would move there and stay there and still have him in my corner, and he'll always be in my corner. But as of right now, I just see me doing camps there for now.
Well, I know like Glory's kind of had a couple people joining recently. I know like Derek Minner, he has another fight coming up as well. So I think he'll be starting his camp quite soon. If not, he hasn't started. He's going to be on the podcast this week as well on Friday.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff going on at Glory. I think they need a little bit more recognition that they're getting. I mean, they had Megan Anderson, who went for a title, obviously didn't go her way. James Krause has done a really good job. I mean, I'm trying to think of his name. He had a really good fight. I think he knocked the guy out in like the last like few seconds of the fight.
Yeah, that's
Grant
Dawson.
Yeah. So they've been doing a lot of great things over there. It's a great camp, a lot of great fighters I've got to talk to over there, and just a great thing that they're doing over there. It's great to see.
Yeah, it's it's so homey being there too. Like they make you feel welcomed, and I don't got to worry about going there and having to fight egos. There's other gyms you'll go to every now and then, and you go in there and you feel like, man, I really got to fight guys because you're fresh meat. They're trying to make a name off you or to beat you up or whatever. But there, everyone's just trying to get better, and there's no egos, and it's a great place, to grow and just learn and to advance your career.
Absolutely. So now, what's your plan? Are you going to start your training camp after you return from vacation? What's your plans at the moment?
So I'm gonna come home after this, have a week, and then the following week I'm going to Arizona for the Adesanya versus Vittori card.
Okay.
My training partner Jake's fighting on that card, so I'll get back home, be getting him, final touches that week, and then we'll fly out the following week and have his fight and go get that big win, and then come home, and then he'll probably take a couple weeks off, and then I'll just gradually ease into it. I'm gonna train every day, but about 8 weeks out, I'm gonna start really hitting it hard. Maybe 10 weeks, really killing it, and then I think 6 weeks out from the fight, I'm gonna go to Krause's for 4 weeks, and then come home for the week, and have a light, easy week, and just getting things buttoned up, and then we'll fly out, and then go put it on Zhu Rong and get ready for the next one.
Awesome, awesome. Now I know you kind of talked about your thoughts on your opponent. I mean, kind of giving a little bit of insight, but what would give me like, could you give me like an initial prediction of how the fight's gonna go?
I think there's a couple ways it plays out. I just feeling it and seeing the scenarios play out in my head. Um, Obviously, his last fight, people were dogging him, saying he didn't have a good showing and he was so like gun shy. I'm not expecting that out of him at all. I'm gonna expect the best version. Maybe it was his first time in the UFC as well. Maybe he did get a little starstruck or the big lights messed with him, and I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting a killer out of him. But even though he was didn't perform to his standards, you still see what he's capable of. You still see his movements, his
Mm-hmm.
what he likes to throw, his tendencies. So I just don't see anything he does that I haven't seen, and I think it's opposite for him. I'm gonna throw a heavy wrestling pressure that he's probably never seen and felt in his life. And just striking wise, I'm so unorthodox, and I can mix it up well and explosive, and I can go for days when I got my camp under my belt. So I just see me catching him early in the first round, maybe second round, and either TKOing him, even putting him out cold, or dropping him and getting the submission. I really just don't see it going all. I guarantee it don't go all 3 rounds. There's no way.
Well, and I think that's what makes you such a successful fighter is the fact that like you have the great wrestling and your stand up is just as equal, and I think that's why you're able to match it up. And that's I think nowadays you have to be so well rounded to be able to be successful. I mean, I think having just stand up or just having wrestling can only get you so far now.
Yeah, but if I could pick one to have only, it would be wrestling. But
Of
that alone
course.
is just not. It's not enough anymore.
Mm-hmm.
People are getting so good at defending takedowns, and if you can keep the fight on the feet and you're a striker, you're going to be successful, and vice versa. But if you can do both very well, yeah, it's going to be hard to beat you. It's a vicious combo to have, and it took me forever, to hone my striking to where it is now, and I'm still just growing and getting better, and I'm loving it more than wrestling, and sometimes you start neglecting, your wrestling. So I got to, dial everything back in and keep, keep making sure my wrestling's sharp and all my tools are ready to roll. And but the striking aspect is so fun to me now, and I'm just having a blast, and starting to piece guys up, and I don't think it's going to be any different in this fight, and I can't wait, to have a full camp and just show everyone that this guy's he may be good. He has a lot of hype behind him, but I'm trying to get his ass cut. He's about to be 0-2 and hopefully out the door.
Oh, absolutely. And so, obviously you're fighting in September. So, I mean, that's kind of that's pretty much the back end of 2021. Depending on how the outcome of the fight, whether you're pieced up or you're not, would you like one more fight by the end of the year?
Yeah, if I go out and get the finish and the big win, um, I would love to fight again, and probably, maybe, like I said, depending on how it goes, I would love to fight maybe end of October, November, around there, before the holidays, hit, and be able to relax and spend some good time with my family. But yeah, if I get a big finish, like I think I'm going to, I would like to just roll into another camp right away and fight again in like October, November. So, and then, just keep, taking whatever they send me. I'm not going to turn down any fight. I don't care who it is. And just like this one, I didn't have to look them up. I just signed in yes.
Excellent. And now this fall, is there going to be any chance of deer hunting season? What's going on there?
Yeah. So it's kind of funny. Deer season opens September 15th for bow
Wow.
season for us.
Okay.
So I'll go out there and get this win, and then yeah, I'll be sitting in the woods if I don't get another fight lined up. So that'll take up a good chunk of my time like usual.
I mean, give me this scenario. You got a buck on your site, and you get a call from like Mick Maynard and say, "Hey, we got to fight for you like this weekend. Are you gonna take it, or are you gonna be like, no, I got this deer?"
I'm taking the fight. I'm taking the fight. I can hunt the rest of my life. So
There you go. There you go. I gotta ask. So I know sometimes like restrictions can be kind of different in whether it's in the States, Canada, because where I'm from, I'm in Ontario. So what's the difference with the restrictions with deer hunting? Is there like at a certain time you can only hunt with bows, a certain time you can hunt with rifles? How does that work out?
yeah, in Missouri, bow season opens up September 15th. So you are allowed one buck before rifle season with your bow. So, and you can buy unlimited doe tags pretty much. You just got to keep paying for doe tags. So I could shoot a buck before November, which is usually I think the second or third Monday in November is when rifle season starts. And then it'll run 10 days. And then after those 10 days are up for rifle season, bow season will start up again until January 15th and it's over. But you're allowed two bucks in Missouri. So whether you kill two with your bow or one with your bow and one with your rifle, but you're not allowed to kill two with the rifle.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I didn't really know how that all worked out in Missouri, but that's pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool. Have you seen that trend going on with all the UFC fighters? I think Connor was catching a fish, and I think I don't know if it was Bryce Mitchell. I don't know if he was in on it as
Yeah, I
well. I know
seen
he likes
Bryce
to
too.
hunt too, so
Yeah, who's the best fisherman?
yeah.
Um, yeah, Connor. I don't know why he even flirted with the idea of thinking that he's up there. That guy, he's never even fished probably except for taking that yacht out and someone threw a line out and he caught a little snapper. Uh, Out here, man, I haven't thrown a rod and reel at all. So I've been spear fishing, going after a big fish. I've been diving on this 7 mile bridge down here on the piers and diving like 15 feet and had a nice shark under me the other day, probably like an 8 foot shark sitting there on the bottom and just swimming under holes trying to find fish. And too bad lobster season's not intact right now. That doesn't open till August, I believe, down here. But
Oh.
just huge lobster down here. They're spiny lobster. They don't have pinchers, so you can just snag them and pull them out. And I'm kind of upset that they're not in season. So it's been so much fun though, man. The water down here, the clarity, it's like no other. But if we threw all the guys in the UFC and gave us a fishing rod and a kayak out here and take off, I guarantee you that I'm beating every one of them. Bryce Mitchell's a Arkansas boy, and I don't think he's really been out of Arkansas too much, but he knows how to fish there. He he's gonna be catfishing, crappie, bass, and he's gonna know his stuff and his parts. But out here in the ocean, man, the only other guy I see, competing with me is Clay Guida.
There you go. Yeah, I was thinking of that name when you were talking. I was like, yeah, you got. I don't know. You might have to check up with Clay there. So
Yeah, definitely. But we don't even have to talk about turkey hunting though, because they're hands down, I'm the best turkey hunter in the UFC, and that there's no close second.
fair enough. Fair enough. Um, No, just lastly, I just want your prediction on a couple fights. I know that you're going to be attending the Adesanya versus Vittori 2 card. So that being said, I just want your prediction on a couple of the fights. Starting off, you got Diaz and Edwards. So how do you see that fight playing out? Or what's your prediction? Sorry.
I think if Nate can push the pace, and stay in his face like he usually does, he can win a decision. Maybe get a finish, but if Leon comes out and moves forward, I don't see him losing the fight. But when he fought Muhammad last, he backed up a lot and he avoided the pressure and the contact, and I thought Muhammad was doing a great job cutting him off and
Mhm.
pushing the all the pressure on the fight. And I didn't think Edwards was looking too hot, but if he can come out and keep a good pace, I think he'll beat Nate. But if it's switched around, I think Nate's gonna win. It's all gonna be based off of who will stay in the center of the cage and who's not taking the first step back and who's gonna set the tone of who's hunting the whole time, who's going after the kill.
Well, and this is the first time that not even a main event has been 5 rounds. Do you think the UFC kind of set that up, giving Nate that 5 round advantage?
I think so. I think they're kind of catering to him for that because who else has ever gotten that chance ever, and they wouldn't be doing it to someone who's going to gas out. They're definitely favoring Nate because he gets stronger as the fight goes. So um, he's fortunate, I guess. So and he's been around long enough, I guess. He can kind of make those demands, or they can kind of help him out in those areas.
Yeah, yeah, because besides him and McGregor, and then McGregor and Poirier, I mean, having the main event, I can understand, but besides that, they've never done it before. So I do feel like they're more favoring. I think they want Diaz to win. I don't know what's with the hatred towards Edwards. I mean, he's a great fighter. The guy's on like what 8 fight win streak or something like that. So
Yeah.
um, I don't know what's kind of going on there, but I still like to see it go 5 rounds. I think it's more for the fans, truly, because the fans want to see a 5 round scrap with Diaz, and because they know what Diaz brings to the table. He's he brings a lot. So we'll definitely get to see what's going to go on there. So looking at Figueiredo and Moreno too, I mean, insane first fight. Are we going to expect to see the
Yeah.
same thing?
I don't think so. I think one of them's getting clipped early, and I love watching both of them. They're both, like I said, for Figueredo to be the champ and to fight with that same mentality, like have a dog in him, like he's the challenger. Like he was going out there, and a champ doesn't have to fight like that. He can fight smart and defend his title and try to just get out with the win and keep his belt, but he was putting himself in danger, to throw, big blows and just have a great scrap. So you can't, dog either one of them. They're both warriors, and that was a great fight and fun to watch. I think we're gonna have a great fight again. It's gonna be fun. I just don't see it being a 5 round fight this time. I
No.
think I think one of them is getting clipped and TKO'd or maybe submitted. But if I had to pick, I think Figueredo might walk away with it.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to think that like only a couple of years ago, before Henry Cejudo got the title and was kind of reigning there for a bit, they were talking about scrapping the division because there were so many people complaining there, oh, it's a boring division, no one wants to see these small guys fight. But now, like, I mean, I think these two guys put on the fight of the year, if I'm not mistaken. So isn't it
Oh,
kind of
definitely.
crazy to see how far like this division's really gone in the last couple of years?
I don't understand it. People saying, yeah, they're not exciting. Bull crap. I think they're the most exciting guys to watch. You get two flyweights that can just they're like two cats with their tails tied together. They're just everywhere
Yeah.
and rolling around, and it's super fun. And I think the casual fan doesn't like it because maybe they don't have the power to put people to sleep like every fight.
Hmm.
But you can't deny greatness and skill and technique. These guys are just as skilled, if not more skilled, than the other fighters that rely on power or strictly wrestling. These guys got to be good at everything, and they're so quick and fast, and their transitions to grappling to striking to wrestling. It's just it's unbelievable. I don't see how they're not more respected than what they are.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Now, just quickly, Israel Adesanya and Marvin Vettori too. First fight, obviously, was a little bit more closer than some other Adesanya's fights. How do you see this next one going?
I think, they've both gotten better since they fought, but I think Israel's made a lot bigger leaps of greatness than
Mm-hmm.
Vittori has since they fought. Um, Vittori's got a dog in him though, too. He's a fighter and he's got a little scrap in him and he's gonna push the pace. So I think if he can push the pace and get in Izzy's face and make him wrestle and not let him play with his range and distance, I think Vittori can skate out with the decision. But I think it's gonna be, Israel just picking him apart and tearing him up with leg kicks and using his reach and just uh, making a point style fighting. I don't see him finishing him though. I think it's going to be a decision either way.
Yeah, and the thing is, what amazes me the most is that it is Adesanya. His fight IQ is so insane that you can just watch what he's doing. Like it sometimes, like when people don't watch MMA and they watch this guy, they're like, "Oh, this guy's crazy." And it's like you just have to really you just look how intelligent he is, like how he's able to just figure out his opponents so quickly, and how because a lot of fighters with distance, sometimes some have that difficulty with learning distance. Some, their opponents will close distance quite quickly, but he just has a way to slow down the fight and put it at his pace. It's incredible.
It's unbelievable. It reminds me like when I was, a kid, probably around 10 years old. And I remember the first time watching the Anderson Silva fight, just on a
Mm-hmm.
fight night, just turning the TV on and he happened to be on TV and I didn't know who he was. And I think it's when he fought James Irvin.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up, I think it was when he caught the kick and punched him, knocked him out. But just watching the fight, it was like, man, this guy is so dang good, like better than anyone on this card I watched. Like he's above, like light years above everyone. And, before long, he's, the greatest of all time. And I think that's the same with, Israel, that he's just a step ahead, not just, physically fighting, but like you said, mentally, like his IQ, he can break down the fight as it's going on. He can make those adjustments mid fight. And I think it's something that, you can't really teach it or learn it. You're just kind of born with it. And he's on another level with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see it. I mean, as much as, yeah, like they canceled the Diaz fight last card. I'm actually glad they put it
Yeah.
on this one because it's really stacked, and I'm excited to see it. It's gonna be a great card. I mean, obviously you're gonna be at that event, so that'll be pretty sweet as well. So anyway, Dakota, I don't want to take more of your time here. I know you're on vacation, so I do appreciate you coming on, taking the time to come on the podcast, talk a little bit about your upcoming fight. So good luck in September, and we'll talk to you again next time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Like I said, we'll go out there and get this win, and I'll be back on to holler at you. And hopefully, it might be in a deer stand or something around that time. So
What's that?
I said it'll probably be in the deer stand around that time next time I talk to you. So
There you go. Maybe you need to do like a live thing, live feed or something. I'll just be chatting with you. You'll be getting a deer down on your sites or something. I don't know.
yep.
All right, Dakota. We'll talk to you again soon, and thank you for joining in.